Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Saturday, March 14th, and this is the weekend edition. We're going to take a look at the markets like we usually do and look at the weekly charts and indicators, key ETFs. 5 stocks in focus today: Micron Technologies, NXP Semiconductors, Qihoo 360, SolarCity, and Skyworks. I think I've got that right. Skyworks, yes. Okay, the Dow Industrials down 145 points yesterday. It was down a lot more than that, as you can see down here by the lower end here of the wick. Actually testing the low of Thursday, and then it rallied back and came back about halfway up on the day. So, you know, we didn't get the follow through to the upside following the big rally on Thursday. So we'll have to see, are we bottoming or what are we doing here? I mean, we got a little choppy at the bottom here, same thing down here. So we're just having to take it day by day and watch and see. The S&P 500, similar type thing. I'm marking this as a wave 2 pullback, but again, it's just a tentative to assuming that it's going to turn around and get going again to the upside. NASDAQ, a little less bearish looking, but a little more of a doji type of bar. I wouldn't actually call that a doji, but you can see the wick on the top and on the bottom. And let's see, New York Composite, and again we talked about this, how this is acting a little more negative. Quite a bit of a downdraft that we got out of this. Pulled back a lot more than 50% of this move. But again, the rally off the low was actually a little stronger yesterday than either on the Dow or the S&P, I think. So we'll see whether or not that was a turnaround point yesterday. And of course, the Russell 2000, it was so bullish on Thursday with its action. And again, it came back. Comes down, goes and tests the low, and goes into the gap a little bit that happened on Thursday, and then it rallies right back up to the top. So we'll see whether this continues. Let's take a look at the weekly charts. Not telling us a whole lot more, although on a weekly basis, we're getting a close below the 10-week moving average. Now, I don't make a whole lot about it for 1 week because I want to see if it's going negative. You want to see, another week and then a break of the lows, but we just have to note it and pay attention to see what's new. Same thing on the S&P 500 right in here. Now, again, I'm not sure if I'm showing this on the weekly. Yeah, I am. Just didn't talk about it. The trend line here. This is kind of a key support trend line, I think. I think this trend line needs to hold if we're going to continue to have a move to the high side. And you can see the S&P 500 on the weekly got pretty close to that. NASDAQ weekly, I didn't draw it in, but let me take a look here. Okay, so I mean, it didn't even come close. And again, this is, like bouncing right off the 10 week. It's not closing below it. And I want to go to the New York Composite Weekly, which is right where it's at. It always knows where I want to go. Now you can see how this went slightly below the trend line and then rallied back up off of it. But now we got a couple of weekly closes below the 10 week. So again, a little more negative action on the New York Composite. And the last thing is the Russell 2000 weekly. There we go. Now, this one I think is interesting again because I talked about this support zone, okay, this consolidation sideways, this fake breakout here and rallied back up into it. And then we now get the breakout to the upside. We pull back down into right to the top of the range and right really to the 10 week, and then we rally right off of that. And this is a nice bullish looking candle. We'll see if we get some, it needs to take out the highs in here, the 2 or 3 week highs, and keep going if that's what it's going to do. Right now, it looks like that's what it wants to do. All right, let's take a look at some more indicators. Okay, here's the short-term trading index, the trend. Again, it's pulled back down in. 1.34 was the closing trend on the day. So the 10-day is back in here to neutral area, 1.29. Where is it? The VIX right here. And again, the VIX, I'm not quite sure what to make of this RSI action. It almost looks like a little bit of a, fish hook, like maybe the next move might be down. I mean, this didn't, for the market selling off and this trying to get bullish, I don't know why this is not looking super bullish to me. But, we do have the 10 breaking above the 21 in here. The VIX was up for the day. It did break Thursday's high. So I don't know. I mean, it's, again, just like the market, the market rallied back, the VIX dropped back down off of this. We'll see whether or not it goes up and breaks a couple of days high or whether it takes out a couple of days low. Right now, based on the RSI, I would lean towards the fact that it looks like the VIX might be going down. And then the last one we'll take a look at is the high-low. Well, actually, there's one more after this, the high-low. Now this, because of course the market was down, so you get 84 more new lows than new highs for the day. So now we're back down below the zero line in here. So we're coming back down. Now, if we rally back off of this, we could be getting some kind of W formation in here, but it's way too early to say anything about that. And typically I like to talk about those not in the neutral area, but down at extremes, W's down here and M's up here kind of thing. And then let's see, I want to go back to the McClellan oscillator, which is on the New York Composite. And you can see how the McClellan oscillator came from the oversold zone. And here's this little W that we got, W bottom here at the oversold area. And now it's gone positive, got above the zero line. So that's kind of a positive, I think, for the market short term. So we'll see if we get some follow through to the upside Monday. The put to call ratio, 10-day put to call, is at 0.66. So again, it is not at an extreme. We're not getting really any extreme action there whatsoever. All right, now I'm going to take a look at take a look at some of the ETFs. Okay, the high yield bond fund, we just got one more day of action on these. So again, it pulled back. Again, we were bouncing off of this trend line, and now it pulled back a little bit. So, not really a whole lot to say about that. Not a whole lot of change. Next one is long-term bonds we'll take a look at. Okay, so here's TLT, 20-year Treasury bond, 20-plus year Treasury bond. And it pulled back down a little bit, so interest rates, went up just a little bit. So we've had this rally, broke this trend line I talked about, kind of sideways action. Again, one day from, our report on Thursday, not a whole lot more. All right, now the dollar index. And this continues to be on fire. Okay, so Thursday I didn't have this because it didn't update. So it was a pause day, okay? Kind of a doji bar. And then look at on Friday, a continuation. And it's just, look at this on a weekly basis. And it is just on fire, breaking out of that consolidation that I talked about on the daily chart. And that's how it looks on a weekly. So this thing is in rocket mode. And let me see if we're... Yeah, little bit of divergence showing up in here off of this couple of day moves, but not big, but it may mean we're getting in for a little pause or something. Let's take a look at oil. Okay, so here's United States 12-month oil, and you can see oil continuing to break down. This is what I've been expecting. I've been expecting this breakdown out of this consolidation. We got it a little sideways, and now it broke further on Friday. So this is continuing the trend. I'm expecting it to retest this low. We'll see whether that holds or not. Now we're going to look at gold. Okay, gold shares, GLD. And again, we're just doing some sideways move down in here. Not a whole lot of reaction. I was looking just to confirm, no, we're not getting any bullish divergence of any kind on this. And we got fairly deeply oversold. So this thing is pretty strongly trending to the downside. Couple big gaps, actually 3 gaps in here. Kind of partially closed this one, but didn't fully. But pretty gappy, strong move, breaking down through this trend line. And now we're down here testing the lows. Are we? Where are we? The lows are here. No, we didn't get there. I didn't quite get there. All right, let's take a look at semiconductors. Okay, so the semiconductors for the week have basically trended down, although this Friday was kind of a bullish little move, closing back above the close of the last 3 days. Okay, so a little bit of a rebound going on, kind of coming right off the 55-day moving average on the semiconductors. So it almost looks like a little 5-wave move here, getting a little pullback. Maybe we're starting another leg to the high side. Home builders ETF, almost the same type of thing. I mean, you could make the case that you got 5 little waves up in here, getting this pullback, and now the home builders, you know, kind of on Thursday actually was the rebound day for the home builders, and then yesterday was a little bit of a pause type day. Now the 10 is broken down below the 21, but you still have the 21 above the 55, above the 233. So the intermediate to long-term moving average trends are to the high side, and we'll look to see whether this was just a little corrective dip and now it resumes to the high side or not. Next one we'll take a look at is the biotechnology. Okay, here's the NASDAQ Biotechnology Fund, and again, it continues to trend. And so what last week we were talking about, when it's here, it pulls back to the 10, and it just keeps riding right above the 10-day exponential. Although the last 3 days have been just little doji bars, okay, a little indecision type of thing. We're getting a little bit of divergence coming in here. That's on the demand index and on the DI plus, the buying side. And that's not true divergence here on the RSI. So 2 out of the 3 are showing a little bit of divergence, and we're getting a little bit of pausing indecision in here. So, but again, you know, it's still continuing to trend up here. We could get a little corrective action. Let's take a look at the financials. Okay, XLF, the financials. Thursday, you can see Thursday was, again, its big rebound day, and got back up and closed, especially after this on Tuesday, this huge spike down on Tuesday. And then here we get this rally back up on Thursday that closes, you know, above, you know, several days worth of closes and trading action. And yesterday was kind of a, you know, a pause type day. So again, the 21's above the 30, the 55 in here. So the intermediate trend is trying to stay to the high side, and it's come back above and closed back above it. So we'll see whether or not it can get follow through. Last one we're going to take a look at is the energy sector. And of course, this is acting similar to crude oil. I mean, it's continuing to trend to the downside, surprise, surprise, with crude oil continuing to break down. The energy sector stocks are going to continue to break down, and that's what they're doing. Although here it closed on the high, near the high for the day, you know, coming off of a little sell-off, but it's not a strong bar, not a strong bullish bar. I wouldn't call it that. Almost looks like a little kind of a doji bar in here. Blow it up a little bit. And so where did it get support? It got support right down in this range here as it's nearing bottom where previous support came in, but there's still room to go before you start testing the true lows where this came. And let me see if there's something a little bigger picture. No, not a whole lot to tell. I haven't really done any strong analysis of this in terms of any kind of wave count or anything like that. Now, again, we talked about how it tried to break this downtrend line, and then that was a fake breakout move, and then it just reversed right on back down. So, again, to me, short term, we just got to watch the price action to see if it tells us it wants to turn around. All right, let's jump in and take a look at our 5 stocks. We're going to start off with Micron Technology. Okay, Micron, MU, this looks like it's been chopping sideways since this high back here, July 2014. Now, yes, it did go higher, but this all looks like corrective action to me. It's, you know, whenever you, again, I've talked about this, whenever you get overlapping waves, you are getting corrective action, okay? That is not impulsive move to the high side or downside. It's correcting. And so right now, my best interpretation of this is that we got some kind of complex combination going on, and this looks like a combination of a little bit of an A, B, C, almost kind of a flat, although this looks like 5 waves to me here, so I'm not quite sure. Usually it's a 3 wave on a flat, so this is my first shot at the interpretation. If I look over here, this looks like I'm getting 5 waves here for an A, B, and then that would mean 5 waves down for a C. Right now, we've gotten a 2-day bounce. Whether or not that's got any legs to it or any strength, we'll just have to watch and see. The RSI is still below 50. DI minus is still way above DI plus. Demand index is still negative. This is still in a solid downtrend. All it did was get a short-term little bounce, and we're just going to have to continue to watch it. All right, the next one is NXP Semiconductors. Actually, before I go there, I want to go back and just kind of zoom out of Micron just to see, so you can see where this has been, what's going on. This looks like this had a big move off of September, October 2011. In like maybe a 1, 2, a really strong 3. I mean, look at this powerful move. And then maybe we're chopping sideways here in a 4 in a consolidation type thing because you had a pullback here and we're chopping sideways and maybe setting up for one more fifth wave move to the high side. So from a grand scheme of things, that's what I'd be kind of looking for, watching to see when will this corrective action kind of end and this start to turn to the upside. All right, now let's move on to NXP. And wow, this thing is amazing. This is on fire. This has just been trending like crazy. I mean, look at this, beautiful. And it sure gets its pullbacks. Stocks always have pullbacks in, no matter what it's doing. But this is really, really nice trend, breaking out of consolidation here, sideways consolidation here, and then boom, this huge gap to the high side here. Yeah, strongly overbought, but again, it's just confirming the move. Now, the only thing I get a little wary, see the volume that happened on that day? Big, big, big volume. The thing I get a little wary of is when I look at the demand index and ADX. When it starts to get really high, especially the ADX, now, yeah, it can go higher. Things can always go to a further extreme. What's 49 up here on the extreme at the selling point, okay, on the DI minus. And where are we on the buying? 46. So when you start to get up there, you're like going, okay, I'm in this overbought, extreme territory. I need to be a little bit careful. We're getting a little bit of divergence here, but that's just because we just made this one move. We'll see how it plays out over the next couple of days, whether this has got some strength to it and power to it or not, or whether this is kind of like some ending thing. But right now, I'd have to say it's trending pretty nicely. We're outside the Keltner channels, and last time it did that, it pulled back in. And so maybe you get the same kind of action or so. We'll just have to see. Don't really have a wave count on this, although if you're coming off this low here, it's hard to tell what, this looks like, some corrective here, and maybe it started something in here, and this, you get these gaps like this. That's a strong 3 type move. So I'll have to spend some time analyzing. But right now, it is looking very nice, strong uptrending price action. Qihoo 360 is the next one, and I've got it right here. We'll jump into that. This one is continuing its downtrend, and yes, it did hit its head and shoulders target. So let me back off of that. What am I talking about with the head and shoulders? It's this price action up here, this huge head and shoulders that we had. We broke down. When did we break down? We broke down in September, and it's taken until March to exactly hit the price target, actually almost the end of February, to hit the price target of the head and shoulders. So sometimes these things just take a while to, trend on down. So right now it's gotten that far. I was actually thinking this thing might be getting ready to turn. We're getting a little bit of divergence, but it's going to have to start closing. Price action is going to have to start saying, yeah, it's ready to go higher. I mean, because yes, we are getting some divergence, like right here on the RSI, but this action here, coming back up above these lows in here, it's not acting super bullish. Okay, so little cautious about it, thinking it might be getting ready to turn, but a little cautious. All right, let's take a look at SolarCity. SolarCity is continuing to do what I talked about the last time I reviewed this stock, and I said because of this overlapping price action here, I felt like it had not completed its corrective mode. And why is that? Because I'm looking at a complex W, X, and some kind of Y move, and we've got this corrective channel I drove in, or created in here with the trend lines. This one is a parallel to this one here. And what I was doing is I was looking at and saying, well, okay, if I go the length of W, go back to the end of X, where is Y equal to W? Right down here near the trend line. So I'm thinking, okay, this had more action, more room to come to the downside. And sure enough, that's what it's been doing ever since then. Now, yeah, we did get a little one-day pop up to the 10, but just reversed right back on down. The trend, short-term trend, intermediate trend is about to go back negative again, it looks like. And the long-term trend is to the downside. Now, let me see, given all that, let's see what the, wow, I hate when it does that, and that. And let's take a look at the RSI. Now, that's not getting divergence because this is diving down right now, and it's actually did go lower than that point there. So we're not getting any bullish divergence. This is continuing to go a little higher on the DI minus. And the demand index, I still, it's not below this point yet, but it's not, I'm not going to read that much into it. So right now, I think we're still trending to the downside and looking for it to head that way. All right, next one is Skyworks. Okay, Skyworks Solutions. This was a request from one of my subscribers. He asked me to take a look at Micron, which I usually do. Skyworks I usually don't, but I do have it tracked. It's just not one of my 38 to 40 that I am looking at on a regular basis. But Skyworks is, wow, I mean, it has just been going straight up too, at least since the beginning or in early 2013. So you can see this has been a fairly volatile stock over the years. And the price action here the last 2 years, a little over 2 years, has just been pretty well straight up. And pretty solid trend to the high side. And I was looking at divergence. I'm really not seeing anything. A little bit lately on the RSI in here, but boy, you know, it's shown up before some divergence, and you just didn't get much correction. It just kind of corrected back to the 10. And I've talked about how sometimes, especially if you're in this with the stock and you own the stock, you know, one way to stay in, and you know, here's just one way, is wait for 2 closes below the 10-day exponential moving average. Now, sometimes that can give a lot back, like right here. Okay, let's say you got in, you're trending up, and you know the stock gets as high close 74.42. Well, here it closes at 69, so you're giving back 5 points. But you don't get out till it breaks the low of these 2 days. Okay, so that's one way to do it. Well, did it do it? No, you stay in. Oh, here you got two closes below the 10-2 in a row. I'm talking about 2 consecutive closes. Did it break the low of those 2 days? No, you're in. You stay in. You never got out. Same thing here. Never broke the low of any kind of 2 days, and I'm not even sure that was below the 10. And so it is a way that you can get in, and if a stock starts trending, it'll keep you in. Now, let's say back over here, you were in the stock. Where was it? I think did I just lose it? Oh, here I go. Okay, so you're in the stock. Here you got 2 consecutive closes below 10. Did you break it? No. So and it rallies back up. Then all of a sudden you get this boom, whack down. Now here's 2 consecutive closes, didn't break the low. Then 2 in a row, didn't break the low. Now it closed back above. So, you know, the setup's off. And then you get 2 consecutive closes below. Did it break it? No. So you've had a pullback, and it still hasn't taken you out. And here's 2 consecutive closes in here, the low 34.90, the low 34.98. Here, did it break 34.90? No, 34.96. So literally, by using that same methodology for exit, you would have stayed in through this pullback to the 55-day moving average, and then boom, it rallies and continues again. It's just one way to do it. Now, sometimes you have to be careful. Sometimes you have to give yourself just a little bit of leeway. Now, here's a low, 29.28, and where did it go? 29.25. So are you going to let yourself get taken out by 3 cents? Sometimes you have to say, you know, 2-day low plus 10 cents or something like that, just to give yourself a little bit of margin. But yeah, it's just something to chew on, something to think about if you're frustrated with how to stay into a long-term trend when you're in a stock kind of thing. Just one way, a lot of ways to do it. That's just one. Right now, Skyworks continues to trend up. Well, I don't know. I like getting in after pullbacks. This would have been a great entry right in here. I get a little nervous once it starts to get a little divergence and it's riding up here by the Keltner channel. So I would wait to see for a pullback. That's just me. But anyway, so now we've taken a look at that. I'll be back tomorrow on Sunday with some trade ideas. We'll review the ones we're in and see if there's any new ones for the coming week. If you're watching this anywhere else besides my website, head on over there, check out the post. And the latest post today is called Apple and the Dow. Every picture tells a story, and I've got several charts in there that I think you might find very interesting. So if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. It gives you access to the Trade Ideas page and to the PDF. I've got the free essentials that you can download. So until next time, stay focused, follow your plan, and trade without fear. Have a great week.